There was so much drama that every moment is a highlight as we look back at today's European Grand Prix.
The modern Nürburgring in the west of Germany, the venue for the European Grand Prix, round 14 of the 1999 Formula One World Championship. Hello there, welcome to our review of this afternoon's race, a contest that's going to have an absolutely crucial bearing on the outcome of this year's championship. 4 drivers involved in the battle for the big prize with 3 races to go. Qualifying set a very high standard. It was an absolute thriller.
The session starts with a wet track and under dark clouds. The top runners put one quick lap in the bank. Rubens Barrichello emerges fastest on wet tyres, hoping for a repeat of his pole in France. But as it clears up and the track improves, on go the dry tyres.
Yeah, there is Eddie Irvine, and he is indeed on slick tyres.
It's Eddie Irvine, the first to quicken the pace, taking an encouraging provisional pole in the Ferrari. It doesn't last. As the times tumble, the teams make a simple equation. The later you go out, the faster your lap. David Coulthard is one driver happier when it rains and manages to out-qualify Mika Häkkinen for just the second time this year. Irvine also tries a late charge, but a badly timed spin puts him in trouble and out of contention for a top grid spot. The last 5 minutes are very exciting, if a bit chaotic, with pole changing hands 6 times.
Damon Hill is in pole position. My goodness, Ralf Schumacher, pole position. And wow, Häkkinen.
But then a tactical masterstroke by Monza winner Heinz-Harald and Team Jordan. A race-style pit stop for new tyres, just enough time for one more lap, and go for it. The German quickest in the dying seconds.
Frentzen takes pole! Frentzen takes pole with 9 seconds to go!
So the 2 outside bets for the championship find themselves on the front row of the grid, but it's Jordan top of the pile. F1 pole number 2 then for Frentzen and Jordan, with Coulthard ahead of Häkkinen and the ever-improving Ralf Schumacher taking 4th. Panis starting from the 3rd row alongside Fisichella, and 2 ex-world champions Hill and Villeneuve 7th and 8th. Irvine needing rain if he's to do anything from 9th, with Trulli 10th ahead of Wurz, Ferrari's Salo and Diniz. Herbert out-qualifying teammate Barrichello, both disappointed to be so far down. Alesi 16th ahead of Zonta. Zanardi on row 9 with the Minardis of Badoa and Genet, again leaving the last places to the arrows of Takagi and De La Rosa. It's the European Grand Prix then, with your commentators Martin Brundle and Murray Walker.
2, 3, 4, 5. Out and the lights are still on, and Frentzen has jumped the start. Häkkinen has jumped the start. Now, they were on for a fantastically long time. There is a mandatory period when those lights must go out. And my view, they did not do so. I've never seen this before. Frentzen got away very quickly. Häkkinen is alongside him. Are they both going to be penalised?
Well, it was like, there's the orange lights on, look, it's like a hair trigger start in a 100-metre race. Frentzen moved, Coulthard moved, Häkkinen went for it, and the rest of the grid is absolutely stationary. So, but the lights were on an amazingly long amount of time.
No doubt about it. I don't know whether the switch stuck. Charlie Whiting is the man who starts the race director, an enormously experienced chap.
But that's an automated process. Once he started the sequence of the lights coming on, the rest of it is fully automatic.
It's probably Marc Genet.
Yes, I think you're right, Murray. I think it's Janae who's going to be effectively put one row.
Yes, it is.
Yes, there's
see
the yellow
flag being held by the second car up from the right-hand side. That's Marc Janae, who I assume caused the problem in the first place. Come on, go this time. Yes, nice one, Frentzen. David Coulthard has got hit. Mika Häkkinen coming up alongside him. David Coulthard is blocked by Frentzen. Häkkinen moves up into second position. So he's already taken his teammate, David Coulthard, whose job now will be not only to...
Oh, somebody's over.
Bang! That's a Benetton in the background.
Sauber, I think, Murray. Sauber upside down.
Yeah, Sauber upside down. Benetton behind it. And oh dear, the driver should be all right. You can see him moving inside the car. Now, it's probably Jean Lacey at the back of the grid because he was behind his teammate, Pedro Diniz. Now he's strapped into the car. He will be literally hanging from his seatbelt.
Red flag, of course. I can't really see they could cover this under the safety car.
Well, there is Furtz running in. That was the Benetton. And they turn the Sauber over. The left rear wheel is off, and of course now...
Yeah, they have used the safety car. Surprising for me anyway. I thought they'd red flag this one with so many marshals around, but of course the cars will come through here at a dramatically reduced pace. So waved yellows, there'll be little whiteboards saying SC safety car to tell the drivers to expect to trip over a Mercedes-Benz with a lot of fairground lights on the top any time soon. Now let's see the action. Look, Diniz going around the outside. Look, the two Ferraris got together. Look, two Ferraris got together. Benetton goes across and clips the back of Diniz as he's minding his own business, going around the outside.
Furtz hit Damon Hill, who was going very, very slowly there, and as a result of that, Diniz goes off and turns upside down. Well, I think they've done exactly the right thing in bringing the safety car out because the Sauber looked well away from the scene of the action on the tarmac. There it is.
Yeah, that's a nasty accident actually, because the rollover hoop really did dig into the soft ground. There's been a lot of rain here, and hopefully there's no neck damage there. And he's going to go across, look, from round, and now he clips. He tries to go round a slowing Damon Hill, and just clips. It's so unusual to see a Formula 1 car fly that easily. The two Ferraris get together, look, Diniz is trying to go around the outside, and suddenly the Benetton spears across, look, just catches him in the left rear, and of course there's a lot of side energy going, and the rollover hoop's gone. So if he's not got a damaged neck, then he's a lucky bunny.
But meantime, the runners are now on lap 3 out of 66, not 67, with Frentzen, Häkkinen, Coulthard, Schumacher, Fisichella in 5th position, and he has got Olivier Panis behind him.
I think a lot of this is precautionary. He's sort of putting his thumbs up, look. I think a lot of that, they've got the new seat system where they can lift the driver out complete with his seat. They're using that, and I'm hoping and expecting that a lot of that is precautionary. Now look, I think the rollover bar has failed, look. That's why the car looked. That's so unusual for that to happen.
Very, very heartening to see Pedro conscious. Well, Damon Hill may be seen now walking in after his last Grand Prix.
Crucial start there for Häkkinen, getting ahead of Coulthard into the first corner. Coulthard's, I suspect, not going to be allowed to come back at him, as now Frentzen is the pace car himself. He then takes over the end of this lap and controls that speed, and nobody can overtake until they pass the start-finish line. Nobody.
That's it. So Frentzen leads, Häkkinen, Coulthard, Schumacher, Fisichella and Olivier Panis, and David Coulthard is having a look as Panis challenges Fisichella behind Schumacher. Now this proves to me, or indicates to me, that there are certainly no team orders in the McLaren team this race, because look at the way David Coulthard was trying to find a way past his teammate Mika Häkkinen. They are both in the running for the World Championship, and of course this has helped Eddie Irvine in a way. You can see the red Ferrari in the background there, 7th position behind the blue Prost of Olivier Panis. Round the Dunlop curve, the hairpin climbing up towards turn 6, underneath the bridge, and then on to the highest part of the course, and it's still Frentzen, Häkkinen And I think this race is going to be decided on strategy. Mika Häkkinen is going to have a very considerable job to get past Frentzen on performance alone. The German, Heinz-Harald Frentzen, is a mighty experienced Grand Prix driver. He's got a new evolution of the Mugen Honda engine in the Jordan, and it's a very powerful one. And just look at the way Ralph and Eddie Irvine scrambles past Olivier Panis. Irvine and the Ferrari are on their way. He's up into 6th position in the points.
This is Irvine's move on the first lap. Remember, on those harder tyres, so it's a brave move from Irvine and easily nailing Panis into the Vidal chicane.
Lap 11 in Germany, and here's Mika Häkkinen having a look at Frentzen with David Coulthard behind him in 3rd position, and the magnificent Ralf Schumacher still hanging on as we look at Jean Alesi in the Sauber.
So that'd be Zanardi at the back, Murray. He was last. Remember, he went across the grass before the safety car came out, and Zanardi may have stalled the engine. It moves forward slightly, in which case it could well be the safety car there. That's a difficult place to get a car out of the way from, although everybody else is around the other side of the circuit at the moment. But looks like Zanardi tripped over the back markers as he tried to make his way back up to his rightful position. You can see Marshall's on the racetrack in the last corner, Murray. So there we can see it now.
Yeah.
Look. What are they going to do with that? They can wave double yellows, but look, it's stuck in gear, and we're going to see the engine now. He's trying to take a pair of them at the time, look, and
Zonta.
He actually managed to hit both of them.
Yeah, that was Zonta that he was involved with, and Takagi, who so very often gets involved with racing accidents in the Arrows, and somehow or other they've got the car clear. Well done.
Irvine's got to run at Fisichella, and Fisichella's got to go down the right-hand side. Can Irvine make it around the outside? No. Fisichella defending his line well. Now he's on racing line on the exit, so obviously had some kind of problem in the last corner. I think it's only a matter of time before Irvine can pass him.
While you watch this scrap, very quickly here are the top 10. Heinz, Frentzen, Häkkinen, Coulthard is 3rd, Schumacher is 4th, Fisichella is 5th, Irvine there is in 6th position, ahead of Olivier Panis, Jacques Villeneuve, Mika Salo and Rubens Barrichello. And James Allen's got news for us from the pits.
Yeah, Murray, don't forget the key to these hard tyres, or rather the soft tyres, is that they go off the 2nd to about the 10th lap. So it's really important for Fisichella to keep Irvine behind him. And Irvine knows that Fisichella's tyres are going to start coming back again. These super soft tyres, they come back to life, the performance comes back. But Irvine has got to get past Fisichella now. If he doesn't, he knows he's stuffed.
Yeah, the problem he's got, James, is the one corner where he needs to be faster than Fisichella. He's actually slower. That right-hander before they head downhill into the braking zone of Vidal, he just can't get close enough there to make it stick, because his car's clearly faster.
Well, Fisichella is clearly holding things up in the Supertech-powered Benetton. In the Supertech-powered Williams, Ralf Schumacher, who's 4th, is nearly 8 seconds ahead of this battle that you're looking at now. The gap between the 1st and 4th is still only 1.6 seconds. Jean Alesi down in the field in 14th position is starting to make a challenge on Ricardo Zonta ahead of him. And in the 11th to 15th places as we ride with Schumacher now, and coming up behind David Coulthard's McLaren. I still can't get over this, the way Schumacher in the Williams Supertech is hanging on to these 3 superstars with their super powerful engines. Frentzen leads. Look at the clouds overhead, and Eddie Irvine having another look at Fisichella and falling.
And Fisichella running wide. Irvine surely must get him this time.
Yes.
Oh, lucky they didn't touch. So Fisichella clearly having to go so deep on the brakes to keep Irvine at bay, and finally Irvine applies enough pressure to pass the young Italian.
Now he's going to be like a cork out of a bottle. Burst free. Go for it, Eddie Irvine. Pull away from Fisichella and close the gap between yourself and Ralf Schumacher. Replay.
Now here's the move, and obviously Fisichella distracted slightly, brakes very late to keep Irvine at bay, and just puts a half a tyre on the grass, and that gives Irvine the run into the bit curve, and off he goes. But one thing you don't want to be on at the moment is, and that's Ralf Schumacher with a run up the inside of Coulthard. Coulthard's going to have to yield, otherwise he's going to be spun around. Now David's sticking to the outside line. Oh, he's probably got just about enough grunt to get down there. Well done, David.
Umbrellas up. Here comes the rain. You can see the rain spots there on the lens of the television camera as Mika Häkkinen has got an increased gap between himself and Heinz-Harald Frentzen.
This is, and there's, I think Fisichella having yet another moment down there in turn 4, that will be, turn 3 rather, so just before turning into the forward curve. You can't believe how difficult this is. This is the most challenging moment for any Grand Prix driver. How much grip is there? Every lap is a whole new adventure. The lap before you were okay, there was enough grip, and suddenly you just snatch a brake or turn in a little bit too late and you're facing the wrong way. And the man with the most confidence is Ralf Schumacher.
Goes through, passes David Coulthard, or does he? David refuses to yield. Schumacher on the inside line. This is what happened on the previous lap, and once again David Coulthard just nudges ahead of the determined German, and they're both having a go at Mika Häkkinen. Oh, this is incredible, and Schumacher's pass.
Ralph's very late into that corner. Well done, he stopped well. I had a feeling he was going to slide straight into the side of Häkkinen. So late on the brakes.
Did you hear the roar from the Mercedes-Benz bashed grandstand there on turns 2 and 3 as their countryman Ralf Schumacher moves ahead of David Coulthard. Now he's going to have a go at Mika Häkkinen, and meantime Häkkinen is 3 seconds behind Frentzen on lap 20.
Well, we're wondering if they're bringing a Ferrari in. I can see the mechanics out in the pit lane. We've seen a Prost go through. It's way too early for wet tyres. Why are the Ferrari men, so many of them, looking so expectant out in the pit lane? The lap times have now dropped into the 27s and 29s. In fact, Frentzen has opened up a 3-second lead. And this is Ralf Schumacher getting a run at Coulthard and then just going desperately late on the brakes. And I was nervous he was going to snatch a wheel and go into the side of Mika Häkkinen. And Mika Häkkinen wouldn't have known what had hit him. He had no idea Schumacher was coming up the inside of him there. And that's the amount of rain there is out on the back of the circuit. So Frentzen going straight across the chicane, look. So maybe that's okay. He didn't make any places. I think I'd have been.
Now this is.
Should he go in the pits? They're bringing Häkkinen in.
Yeah,
Häkkinen in. Should they have brought Frentzen in?
Yes, indeed they should. This could decide the race. Mika Häkkinen has got the call from McLaren, a brilliant call, and Frentzen was just that too. He may have been called in for all I know, and he was too far on past the pit lane entrance to be able to take advantage of it. What's the news, James?
You're absolutely right. Mika a bit hesitant coming into the box there, but it was Ron Dennis's call. The moment he saw Frentzen was going by, he brought Häkkinen in. A brilliant piece of timing. They had the tyres ready. McLaren, fantastic pit work, very fast. Now Ferrari are ready for Eddie Irvine. Going to Mika Salo first. They're going to put wets on Salo. Or is it in fact dries? Another set of dries. What's coming out of the blanket? I'm just looking, it's wets.
They're wets.
He's been a guinea pig for Irvine to see what happens. Ross Brawn is keeping Irvine out. And the rain is in fact stopped now. This is going to be very interesting, boys.
Well, if Heinz-Harald Frentzen can keep going on the tyres that he's got and the rain has stopped, that may work to Häkkinen's disadvantage. Schumacher is now up into 2nd place. David Coulthard there is in 3rd position. Häkkinen has come in. Eddie Irvine in the Ferrari is going strong. And there is Mika Salo. What an enormously long stop. That shot his race. 38-second pit stop for Mika Salo. We didn't see what happened. We were looking at other things. But he's coming out behind Takagi. He's the last runner except for De La Rosa. And Frentzen goes through another lap on the grooved tyres, the nearest thing we have to slicks these days, as Schumacher and Coulthard tippy-toe round the corner.
Yes, they're 1:30 at the moment. That was the cut-off point this morning in the warm-up, where they started going to slicks and went much faster. So this is the pivotal point, and I think there's enough dry track out there to tippy-toe around the dodgy bits and just put up. Now what are they going to put on this? And that looks like another set of slicks to me, James.
It is a set of slicks, absolutely extraordinary. When Salo came in a moment ago, they had both slicks and dries ready for him.
Right rear.
They're not ready on the left rear. There's no tyre. Right rear, I beg your pardon, there's no tyre here.
I've never seen anything like it. There's no tyre to put on.
Oh, I thought we had one when the race started, he's saying. Well, this is ludicrous. This is
now they're going to have a committee meeting about it. Stick it on and send him out.
Well, this has blown it for Irvine, blown it for Ferrari. I don't know what's happened, but there was a major misorganisation problem there. Eddie Irvine came in 5th, and he's going out behind Jarno Trulli. This is Schumacher going off at the chicane. And the fastest man on the track at the present moment is Heinz-Harald Frentzen. And it looks to me as though he is very much in control of the conditions as we watch Jacques Villeneuve 9th. taking turn 1. What an incredible turn-up for the book this is. That's Luca Bader. He's in a very unusual 10th position.
Look, Irvine's caught Hakkinen already. Irvine on slicks, of course, Hakkinen on wet. You're on the wrong tyres, Mika, come in.
Past Mika Hakkinen goes Eddie Irvine, yes. And Mika Salo has a look at Heinz-Harald Frentzen as the German laps the Ferrari. So Mika Salo in the Ferrari comes into the pits to change his tyres. What are they going to put on him? Heinz-Harald Frentzen has lapped one Ferrari, and the point is that Mika Hakkinen is dropping down through the field. He's been passed by Marc Genet, for instance, in the Minardi, who is in 11th position. This is a terrible race for Hakkinen, as the Ferrari mechanics this time seemingly have got a full set ready for Mika Salo.
Back onto slicks, of course, and Hakkinen in this lap, we believe. I can see the mechanics coming out in the pit lane, and that's Hakkinen going across the chicane and about to be overtaken by the Minardi. So Hakkinen having to come back in for slicks. A bit odd that he was actually going off on the wet bits, on wets.
Martin, I don't know if you've been in a position analogous to this as we look at a replay of Eddie Irvine passing Hakkinen, but what sort of things must be going through the Finn's mind?
I've been in this situation not with a championship, but with Grand Prix that keep changing, the variation in weather, and well, it gives you a nervous affliction you live with for the rest of your life, because you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't sometimes on some of these decisions. You've got to make a decision and stick with it. But I don't think it was ever quite ready for the wets, because it was too dry around the other part of the track. And we know the cut-off point, the crucial moment when you're better off on wets than slicks, was a 1:13. They hadn't reached that point.
First three in the same picture. Heinz-Harald Frentzen in the yellow Jordan. In again comes Mika Hakkinen.
Well, I told you before, it was Ron Dennis who made that call. At the time, it seemed a bit inspired. Now he looks a little bit crestfallen. He's got his back to this pit stop. This is lap 25. You can't put enough fuel into the car at this point to get you to the finish, so he's going to have to come in again. But guys, bear this in mind. If Hakkinen and Irvine, who both have problems here, don't get any points, Frentzen goes on and wins this race, they'll all be level on 60 at the end of the race.
We saw the Williams mechanics in the pit lane, and Ralph is taking to the pit lane, so this will be the first of his schedule two-stop race, I would imagine. But down the pit lane, and they've taken the chicane out. He can go straight down and look for the speed line. Over he goes. Make sure you don't undershoot too much on your speed, and look for your box of mechanics. There they are now, wheels locking slightly, but calmly in. And just sit there with a little bit of throttle on, keep the steering wheel straight, wheels going on nicely, fuel still going in, lollipop up, Ralph calmly and maturely off down the pit lane. Nice stop.
Perfect timing for a two-stop strategy. I said they'd come in round about lap 24. He's come in on lap 26, and he rejoins behind Jarno Trulli, who was in 6th position. When something unusual happens in a Grand Prix, you talk about it. Luca Bader in the Minardi is in 10th position, and he richly deserves to be there, because the Minardi team tries so hard against adversity, particularly in the form of very little money compared with the major teams, two of which are Jordan and McLaren, and there is Fisichella
lapping Hakkinen.
Lapping Mika Hakkinen, thanks for that. And Fisichella is going like a train in 3rd position. And what a discouraging situation for Mika Hakkinen. 2 pit stops already, one for the wrong tyres and the second for the right tyres.
Now, this I can't understand. Look, Hakkinen now on the same tyres as the leaders, lapping 2 to 3 seconds a lap slower. Has he given up already?
Well,
he shouldn't have.
No, maybe. Of course he shouldn't. But we know the discouragement factor. We know the pressure. That piece that James Allen did was superb before the race began, to show us the pressures these drivers are under. And Mika Hakkinen, Frentzen loses it!
And that is gaining an advantage, because otherwise he would normally have lost that place, and certainly Coulthard's going to get a good run at him, although the McLaren doesn't appear to have as good a traction as the Jordan, and especially the Williams coming out of that last corner. And, well, I have to say, I think Frentzen clearly maintained his position by charging, but that's what I was saying about that chicane. You've got to jump it properly. This is Fisichella putting the move on Hakkinen, but only to lap him. Hakkinen still down in 14th place, still even since then 2 odd seconds per lap slower. He's just cruising around. He's given up on any points
well,
today.
Yeah, and we know that the key words in Formula One, there's 3 of them, are never give up. Fight, fight, fight every inch of the way, because you never know what's going to happen. So Mika Häkkinen, if he has given up, most certainly should not have done so. Frentzen and Coulthard coming in. Here they are. These are the 2 leaders, the race leader and the second place man. It's going to depend on the pit crews, who gets out first. And remember, they are not allowed to pass in the pit lane. Yes, out goes Frentzen. Where is Coulthard? Right behind him, and the mechanics scatter.
And more importantly, where's Ralph? Ralph not in view yet. Ralph coming over the start-finish line now. He will not get ahead of them. And nor will Häkkinen. Häkkinen's a lap down. There's De La Rosa, also a lap down. And there's Ralph. He maintained 3rd place. Did not put the hot laps in he needed to during that period when he was... And that's Frentzen!
Frentzen and Fisichella has exited the pit lane. Frentzen stops. He's lost the prop. On turn 3, that's his race run, and Eddie Jordan is gutted. Both his cars out of the race, and that is the end of Heinz-Harald Frentzen's chance of winning and getting 10 World Championship points, which means to say that David Coulthard now is on 10 World Championship points. Remember, he is in 4th position in the championship at the moment. He's currently equal on points with Frentzen.
Well, Coulthard's the only championship contender currently in a point-scoring position at all.
Yeah, if Coulthard wins this race and neither Häkkinen nor Irvine get World Championship points.
Here we go. Look, this is Frentzen, just a mechanical problem. Look, comes out of the pits. Maybe some kind of drivetrain problem.
Shaft.
But you know, the pits are quite greasy. Normally, you don't put too much energy in coming out of there on a day like today. But clearly something gone wrong in the transmission. Coulthard easily taking the lead, and Schumacher now 6 or 7 seconds behind as they pull him out of the way. They covered that under a waved yellow flag. They did not bring the safety car out, so we're not going to have an interruption to the race. You can see the Jordan now well out of danger.
Here is Mika Salo coming towards us. He's in 16th place as Fisichella and Herbert battle for that 4th position.
It's bucketing down, Murray. Absolutely bucketing down. Look, and Ralf Schumacher's... that's behind Häkkinen. Ralf Schumacher now still behind Coulthard in 2nd place. But look at that. Where did that come from?
Well, it's quite amazing, this place. It's just like Spa. You can have one part of the track absolutely dry as Ralf Schumacher sails past the McLaren of Mika Häkkinen, who is down in 12th position. It is not chaos here, but it's certainly very, very difficult to follow as the rain comes down on some parts of the circuit, whereas the rest stays dry, and that will be Schumacher's pit crew waiting to bring him in as David Coulthard carries on.
Coulthard carries on. It must be Ralph they're waiting for. Zanardi's out of the race, but doesn't mean to say Ralph will come in. He may take his own decision out there, saying, no, I can cope with it, I can cope with it. But there's a Sauber, which must be a Lacey pulling out of the race. We've already seen Denitz upside down and out on the first corner. So Lacey out of the race, and look at the rain coming down. How's Coulthard keeping it on the road?
So this World Championship position is absolutely riveting, with Heinz-Harald Frentzen 3rd in the championship out of the race. That is Ralf Schumacher that you're looking at now, and David Coulthard is easing away from him as Ricardo Zonta leaves gravel all over the track.
Oh and no, Coulthard off the road.
David Coulthard has gone off. Wow, my God, this is unbelievable. Schumacher leads, Fisichella is 2nd, Barrichello is 3rd. Johnny Herbert is 4th, and Villeneuve is in 5th position, and Eddie Irvine is in the points. Remember, I said, watch Ralf Schumacher. Well, Ralphie is making my forecast come true as off the circuit plunges Coulthard.
Turn 4, he just snatched a brake on the way in, ran wide, and just couldn't prevent it. Look, he stalled the engine, and he's only going to nudge the tyres. If the engine was running, he might be able to reverse out of there, but the engine is already gone. And that is David Coulthard's World Championship chance gone in a heartbeat with one error. Well, the others are staying out there on slicks. He obviously felt he was comfortable out there on slicks. He was pulling away at about a second a lap. That's the way it goes. Louise.
Yeah, bit of news, bit of update on Pedro Diniz. At the moment he's in the medical centre having a full check over, but the latest word from Joseph Libra, who's the team physio, is that Pedro is all okay. There are no obvious injuries to him, so that's good news.
Thank you very much for that, Louise. We haven't been saying anything because we didn't know, but it's heartening news indeed. Pedro Diniz seemingly okay as race leader Ralf Schumacher. And remember that last year his brother Michael had a titanic scrap with Mika Häkkinen, who won the race, and currently in the year 1999 is down in 11th position. Let's go for a break before the closing stages of the European Grand Prix. Mika Häkkinen has really gone to pieces for whatever reason in this race.
Well, Herbert's on wets, Häkkinen's still on slicks.
And that is Ricardo Zonta, who's just passed the McLaren. Everything has gone wrong in this race for Mika Häkkinen. And this is Giancarlo Fisichella on a replay. What's happened to him? Who's second in the race? Has he gone off? Yes! Now, does he regain the circuit? He was 15 seconds ahead of Johnny Herbert, who may well have gone up to second position as a result of this off-course excursion by Giancarlo Fisichella, who's losing time. Now, does he hit the barrier? Mega wheel spin, of course. That grass and mud is offering no grip at all. But with just a feather touch on the throttle, he keeps it going. And into the pit lane comes Ralf Schumacher for his second scheduled stop. Absolutely bang on target. Lap 42, I expected him. This is lap 44. Now, catching him now very fast are Giancarlo Fisichella and Johnny Herbert, who are right behind him. And if Schumacher... Now, can he get out of the pit lane before Fisichella does? Comes through. There is Schumacher on the left. There's Fisichella and Herbert. Fisichella leads, Herbert second, and Schumacher is now down into third position, but he's made 2 stops.
Ralf putting slicks on during that pit stop. For sure, Johnny Herbert will have to come in at some point, unless it rains again, of course, and change off those wet tyres. It's moving into slick territory. Has the arrows, that'll just touch the wall, I think. Chicago. It does, no major drama there. I thought those ropes were guy ropes supposed to keep the wheels on these days, but that one didn't do its job. The wheel's going to have a little run of its own down the racetrack anytime soon. I hope that's not going to cross the racing line, but I suspected do a little bit of a right and get out of the way, please. I think it's going to be all right.
Lap 48 out of 66 in an amazing race. Giancarlo Fisichella is leading Ralf Schumacher as we watch this replay of the Benetton and the Ferrari fighting it out. And there he is, Fisichella!
He stalled it too.
He's out of the race. He's out of the race. Schumacher leads. Giancarlo Fisichella retires the Benetton. We don't know what happened to him.
I think you'll find he's gone off somewhere. So, well, he's obviously gone off somewhere, but I think you'll find he's gone off by himself. It doesn't look like a technical problem. He's too far away. He's got to, maybe gets on the throttle too early or whatever. Yeah, look, we saw him go over there earlier on, didn't we? It's the second time he's been across there, except he's got much more of an acute angle. In fact, now he's completely sideways. He's going to go off the road backwards, and I think the engine has already stalled. We will now never know whether that car needed to come in for fuel or not.
And Eddie Irvine is in the points because he has moved up a place as the disheartened and understandably so Giancarlo Fisichella leans his head against his arm on seeing a race victory again disappear. But meantime, here's the man. Here is Ralf Schumacher with Jarno Trulli now in second position. Johnny Herbert is second, I'm sorry. And off goes Schumacher. I can't keep up with this
from there, but I'm a bit concerned as to why the left front is up in the air. He's got a puncture. I think he's got a puncture, right rear puncture. The left front was up in the air.
Right rear?
Yeah, he's got a right rear puncture. It's clear to see now. And so Ralf has got, I don't know which corner it was, how far he's got to get back to the pits. It looks quite a long way from home.
Johnny Herbert leads the European Grand Prix. Are we going to see a Stewart victory in its third and last year of Grand Prix racing before it becomes a Jaguar? It would be magnificent if we did. Remember, Johnny...
Is that Johnny taking the lead now, look? I think
yes!
Johnny takes the lead of the Grand Prix.
Johnny Herbert leads at the Nürburgring. Remember, he's already won 2 Grand Prix. He's won the British Grand Prix for Benetton, and that is ironic. He's won the Italian Grand Prix for Benetton, and he's on lap 50 with 16 laps to go, and Jarno Trulli is 14 seconds behind him. James?
Well, Murray, we said this was a World Championship of mistakes and unlikely heroes, and what a strange day. The right rear comes off Ralf Schumacher's car. It's completely mashed. It's covered up by a Bridgestone technician. A scrub set of tyres going on. The Williams people deeply disappointed. And one quick line for you on Fisichella. He did have to stop again. It was going to be marginal, but they thought towards the end he may have to do a splash and dash.
So where is Ralf Schumacher now is the question.
He's probably 5th, isn't he? That's Villeneuve, who was 6th. So maybe he's coming out between Badoer and Villeneuve, so he's still in the points. And ironically, that's still keeping Eddie Irvine out of the points. I thought that may elevate Irvine, but Ralf is on a mission now. He wants to be careful he doesn't throw it in the hedge big time.
This is Badoer out of the race. Marc Genet moves up a place into 6th position in the other Minardi. Luca Badoer loses a potential world point disgustedly, throws his very expensive steering wheel out of the cockpit, and Eddie Irvine is gaining on Marc Genet for that 1 World Championship point, and he is followed by Mika Häkkinen, who is catching the Ferrari. This race, the developments never cease to amaze me. We're on lap 56.
It's 4th place, of course, he's just lost. So 3 World Championship points and what would have been a stunning 4th place in a Minardi out of the window for Luca Badoer.
Recap, lap 62. Herbert is out on his own, 20 seconds ahead. Terrific battle for 2nd. Here it is. Jarno Trulli-Prost. There is Zolter, who is being caught by Trulli. There is Trulli. Behind him is Rubens Barrichello, having a look as they go into turn 1, swarming all over the back of the Prost. Behind them, the battle is Ralf Schumacher, 4th position, 26 seconds behind this lot. 10 seconds ahead of Jacques Villeneuve, who is 8 seconds ahead of Genet. And Genet is looking very good indeed for that 6th position, because Eddie Irvine and Häkkinen are not making up more than half a second a lap on the Spaniard. And there is Jacques Villeneuve. So Marc Genet, Villeneuve retires yet again. And Marc Genet is only 2 seconds ahead of the battle between Irvine and Häkkinen now. The Spaniard is losing his grip on that 6th World Championship point.
I think it's 7.3, isn't it? Genet was 2 seconds behind Villeneuve as they went over the line, so I think Irvine is 7.3. There's the Ferrari over the chicane. Häkkinen takes the place. Häkkinen takes what will be 6th place as they go over the line. Well, I'm looking down on it from a great height, but yes, I was right. Häkkinen takes that position. Irvine went scampering across the chicane, outbraked himself and moves into a World Championship point.
And a World Championship lead if he finishes where he is now by 1 point at the present moment. And Johnny Herbert is not so far from home now. But look at this, because Panis is pushing, he's a long way behind. And here is Johnny Herbert in the Stewart. Johnny Herbert in the Stewart turns into corner 13 and takes the checkered flag to win. And there is Jackie Stewart. Wow, oh, words fail me. What a fantastic, what an amazing development. Barrichello is going to finish 3rd. So Stewart finished 1st and 3rd. Johnny Herbert wins the race. Trulli is 2nd, Barrichello is 3rd, Schumacher is going to be 4th. Who is going to be 5th, 6th and 7th?
That's what I want to see. Can Irvine pass Genet on the last lap and get that point? Will the Italians ask Genet to move over and give Irvine that World Championship point? So there's 4th place, man. I want to see down the road and see whether Eddie Irvine...
Häkkinen.
Yes, so 5th place will be Häkkinen. Can Irvine take Genet on this last lap? He was 2.5... No, I don't think he can. He was 2.5 seconds behind when he started the lap. So... brilliant drive from Herbert. Well done, Herbert, Jackie Stewart, Paul Stewart, the whole team. But Häkkinen over for 2 quite unworthy points in my view. And Genet for a brilliant 1 point, 7th for Irvine. And, well, that puts Minardi ahead of BAR in the World Championship.
Oh, what a very, very happy man. And it's champagne time, and it's never been better deserved, and Jackie Stewart is going to be saturated in the stuff.
And don't ruin those lovely trousers, boys.
A great day for us, our first ever Grand Prix victory, still with the team colours on it as it was. We need a little bit of luck, but it was a hell of a race and we're very proud, and to have 2 on the podium is pretty sensational.
Well, a wonderful day for the stewards. And don't forget, Stewart Grand Prix is no more at the end of next month. It'll be Jaguar Racing next season. Johnny Herbert gets the rub of the green at last. A couple of points for Mika Häkkinen is the sum total of the Big Four.
It was the right decision to stay on the groove tyres. Problem was that the circuit was changing. It was raining in certain parts, and I don't believe I took what was a much quicker line into the corner when I went off, but it just seemed to be less grip. I locked up the wheel. Normally in itself would just mean you'd run in the gravel, but when I was in the gravel, it didn't seem to want to turn, and it felt like I was still being driven by the rear wheel, so I couldn't turn the car, and very disappointed and angry at myself for making this mistake, because, you know, leading a Grand Prix, you got 10 seconds on hand. It's a silly thing to do, so I'm sorry for that.
Only to have lost 1 point is incredible after really the performance of everybody this weekend. You know, we've made a few mistakes and we got off very, very light.
It was a great opportunity for us to score 10 points today, but didn't happen.
What happened with the puncture?
Well, at the end, the tyre exploded. That was the rest of the day. But, I mean, you know, those things are happening, and we're looking forward to the next race now.
When I went out of the pit, I had a full ignition cut, and I need to find out exactly what was the cause for that problem.
A similar thing happened to your teammate Damon Hill, of course. Do you think the two could be related?
Probably. We have to check that first. Yeah.
I saw Pedro fly past me, and I was very worried, and then I was on the scene, of course, when they were seeing to him, so I was very concerned for him, but thankfully I'm really pleased to hear he's okay. But it was a real disaster. But I made a good start, and then I lost basically all the power to the car, and I was just unable to get out of the way of everyone.
Now, one final question I've got to ask you. Continuing speculation that this is going to be your last race. Are we going to see you in Malaysia? What can you tell us?
I can't tell you anything at the moment.
He qualified well today. He had a new structure in the way he was going. This is really not the moment that I want to start discussing about Damon's future. It's really up to him as well as me to sit down and see what he wants to do.
But what's the feeling in your bones? Will he be in Malaysia?
I think we have discussed it. He has said that if we are sure about being in third place, he would discuss standing down to me. But, you know, I don't want to lead into some private conversations. That's as much Damon's decision as mine.
From the bottom of my heart, I feel happy for Johnny, because he's been having such a bad time. He's been very patient whenever I was on the podium. He didn't even score, you know. So he deserves. I mean, there are always someone on the top there watching for us, and I think he deserved it more than I did today.
And so Mika Häkkinen's fourth place takes the reigning champion 2 points clear of Eddie Irvine. Otherwise, no real change. Apart from Ralf Schumacher, he's overtaken his injured elder brother. And Häkkinen's contribution gives McLaren an 8-point cushion over struggling Ferrari. Jordan on 57. Now, Williams could still catch them, but it's very unlikely. 14, though, for the stewards, puts them right on the Williams' tail. Right, then let's have a word with Tony Jardine. Tell us about the Big Four, Tony.
Well, Häkkinen really has lucked in. It was a lacklustre performance by the Finn, I have to say. He dropped his head. David Coulthard seemed to have thrown it away. Irvine, despite not scoring, he's still in there, just 2 points behind, so it's still all to play for. But Häkkinen was unbelievable, because on lap 19, the wet came down. That could have been a great gamble, but unfortunately it didn't work because the rain stopped and he came in for wet tyres. Team boss Ron Dennis saw an opportunity, and in he came. Irvine came in, he took slicks, he'd gone up to 5th place, absolutely great. 1 wheel short of a full Ferrari. Ferrari men cannot count. All the faith that he's put in them, all gone away there. And this is poor Heinz-Harald Frentzen, who'd led all the time, even had led chasing DC into the pit stops, come out, electrical failure. He stops, and he had put in a brilliant performance, so frustrated he bashed the steering wheel. The laid-back Heinz-Harald Frentzen, not normally. Now, David Coulthard here are absolutely chucking it away. I was so sad for him, but you could see he was pushing far too hard in the conditions on the dry tyres. Off he went, nudges his nose gently in there. He's going to have to obey team orders in Malaysia, I'm pretty sure of it.
They don't come much better than that, do they, Tony? But we mustn't forget there was a very nasty accident involving Pedro Diniz, who's OK, but it could have been a lot worse.
Well, I find this incredible. It was caused by Damon Hill, as you'll see in a second, because he was slowing down, bunching up the field. The laser goes the inside. There you see the unfortunate Deniz in the Sauber. He caught the rear end of Wirtz and Zanardi going past as well, but the roll hoop broke off. It's an integral part of the chassis. That should not happen. Look at this, because Wirtz has to veer past Hill there. Bang! He's caught the rear end, and over goes the Sauber and Deniz. He is such a lucky boy that that earth is soft, because his head must have been forced back inside the cockpit. The FIA will look very, very carefully at that, and you can see it all happening again. Slithering Alesi on the inside. Look at that incredible roll. It really is unbelievable. Poor old Deniz, if you remember, in '96 he escaped a very fiery Ligier, and the Sun put in the paper, Deniz in the oven.
There, though,
thumbs up, that is a great sign. He's also got a very strong neck. All Grand Prix drivers do, because they got necks twice the size because of the G-forces, and glad to see Pedro going into the back of the ambulance there okay.
That's right, Tony. We had Jackie Stewart in here before the race. He didn't expect a win today. A great day for his team and for Britain's Johnny Herbert as well, though.
I think it's absolutely brilliant for Johnny Herbert, because he's been the hard luck story of this season. He was the hard luck story last season. He'd had those 2 wins in 1995 for Benetton, one at the British Grand Prix and one in the Italian Grand Prix. Here he is up there, as you say, before the demise of Stewart Grand Prix, and Jaguar takes a look at them in unison there. Barrichello finishing 3rd as well. Johnny Herbert, after his big accident in 1988, his 3rd Grand Prix win. Oh, that's absolutely brilliant for him, and great for Britain as well, with Jaguar coming onto the scene next year.
Absolutely great stuff. Tony, thank you very much indeed. So Johnny Herbert's first win, as Tony's been saying, since his Benetton days back in 1995. It's been a long time coming. He's had a lot of bad luck, but here he is now talking driver to driver with Martin Brundle.
When you got up this morning, did you expect to be sitting here smelling of champagne?
Probably not, I must admit. No, the weekend's been a bit... We sort of went for the choice of the hard tyre. We got that lowly grid position, and then the race, we thought we could maybe get some points out of it, but I think just the way the weather turned, it basically went into my favour, because I did a very shrewd but maybe lucky choice of when I came in for my only stop. It just started to rain down the far end. The wind's been blowing dead straight over the circuit. And it was this big black cloud, so it had to go completely over the track, and it did, and that basically made my race.
Well, the world's eyes were on the 4 championship contenders, and then, as you said, you had the right tyres on and made the best of them. Yeah. Do you make that call, or is that team decision, or what happened there today?
Well, on that time, I made the call, because I was very, very fortunate, I have to say, because as I got down to the far end, down to the hairpin, it just started to throw it down, and I was coming in. So for me, it actually made it so much easier for me, because I knew it was just going to go across the track. So as soon as I came in, I said, right, it's raining so hard, I think I'm going to go for wets.
And you lapped Hakkinen at one point.
Yeah, which is pretty nice, I must admit.
And so Johnny Herbert leads them home after 100 minutes of compelling drama. Truly second, best ever for him and Prost. Barrichello putting the second Stewart on the podium. Ralf Schumacher 4th, he'll win a Grand Prix soon. Hakkinen 5th with the fastest lap late on. Genet makes his first point for Minardi. Irvine 7th, unusually out of the points. Zonta 8th for BAR, Panis in the second, Prost. Villeneuve, the last classified finisher, although like Badoer and De La Rosa, he'd stopped with gearbox trouble. Fisichella crashed out in the lead. The brakes failed on Salo's Ferrari. Takagi also crashed out. So did Coulthard when he was leading. Alesi's transmission failed. Frenzen's electrics went. Zanardi had an accident, and Hill's electrical failure caused the early departure of Alexander Wirtz, and finally Pedro Diniz. Your next Formula One action, 3 weeks' time. Brand new circuit in Sepang, the Malaysian Grand Prix, the full ITV coverage throughout the weekend. The action never stopped here at the Nürburgring. Well done to Johnny Herbert and the stewards, but the identity of the world champion is still a mystery that will be revealed in Malaysia and Japan. Good night.